Hi everyone, my name is Robert and welcome back to a new video. In this video I'm going to talk about the most meaningful things for me before I turned 25. Yeah, in the 12th of October I turned 25. That's why I'm going to talk about those things. Yeah, I'm going to talk about some good things that happened to me and some bad things too. Yeah, it's going to be fun in this video, so yeah, let's have some fun. Alright, the first thing I can say is that I was born in 1996, the 12th of October 1996. Yeah, and I don't remember the years between 1996 and 2001. Yeah, I don't remember what I did those years because I was a very little kid. But I remember some things I did in 2002. Yeah, 2002 was the year I moved to Klippan from Helsingborg. Yeah, I was born in Helsingborg. And that was also the year I got a PlayStation 2. Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved playing video games. Yeah, I think it was 2002 too. In that year, I was diagnosed with autism and I went to a school which is called special school, or in Swedish, särskola. Yeah, I began there in 2002. And 2003 I don't remember a lot. Yeah, somewhere in my childhood between 2002 and 2004 I was in the Zoo of Copenhagen. Yeah, and somewhere in my childhood between 2002 and 2004 I was in Höganäs a lot, especially by the countryside. 2004 was the year I had a dog which have died and we had to buy a new dog. The first dog we had was a male, but then we got a female dog. 2004 was also the year I went to Skånes Park with the school. Alright, 2005, that was the year I was on a school camp in Magnarp near Ängelholm. We slept there. Yeah, that was also the year I left Skåne. I went to Halmstad in Halland. That was also with my school. We went to a bath there. Alright, now I'm going to talk about what I did in 2006. That was the year I was on a camp with my school again. But that time we slept in Klippan. Yeah, and later in the summer, when I was free from the school, I went to the beach in Ängelholm. Yeah, I also went to Västersjön, a lake some kilometers north from Ängelholm. Yeah, it's located by Hallandsåsen. Yeah, in Västersjön we fished. And the summer of 2006 I went to Äventyrsland in Halmstad. Yeah, Äventyrslandet is an amusement park just like Liseberg. Yeah, 2006 was also the year I became 1 decade old. 10 years, of course. Yeah, that was also the year I played table tennis. Alright, now I'm going to talk about some things that happened to me in 2007. 2007 was the last time I had a girlfriend. Yeah, that was also the year I found the YouTube page for the first time. Yeah, and the first video I saw was a James Bond video game. Yeah, James Bond Golden Eye. Yeah, and in 2007 something very bad happened. My dog was too aggressive. Yeah, it went so far it had to be killed by the veterinarians. Alright, now I will talk about what I did in 2008. Yeah, I visited all the Scandinavian countries in that year. I visited Denmark and Norway and, of course, my home country Sweden. I was in Helsingør in Denmark. I was in the capital city of Norway, Oslo. Yeah, that was also the year I went to Värmland. Yeah, and I also went to Stockholm, the capital city of Sweden. Yeah, that was a pretty amazing traveling year for me, 2008. Those were the best thing I did in my entire childhood. Alright, now I'm going to talk about what I did in 2009. Yeah, I began at junior high, or in Swedish, we call it högstadiet. That was also the year I went farther down in Skåne to Lund and Malmö. Yeah, I also lived in Helsingborg during the weekends in that year, 2009. Yeah, I was also in Bjuv, also during the weekends. Yeah, it was not a very good year for me, but I had some things to do in that year. 2009 was also the year I got a new computer. Alright, now I will talk about how my 2010 was, or 2010, as some people say. That was the year I made my biggest mistake in my entire life. Yeah, that was also the year I traveled around Skåne. From Löddeköpinge to Malmö to Österlen, for example. Yeah, and 2010 was also the year I got a Nintendo Wii. Yeah, and 2010 was also the year I went from Snyggatorpsskolan to Antilopenskolan. Yeah, it's a smaller school than Snyggatorp. Yeah, both schools are located in Klippan. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2011 was. Yeah, that was the year I took things seriously. Yeah, my plan was to come away from the special school to a more normal school. Yeah, I had to learn some things that all kids are doing at school. But it wasn't very easy. I tried my best. Yeah, that was also the year I went outside of Klippan all by myself. I went to the countryside of Klippan. Yeah, I went around 1 kilometer away from Klippan. Yeah, and 2011 was also the year I got my first mobile phone. Yeah, it was not a smartphone, but a mobile phone with buttons. Yeah, Sony Ericsson and Nokia are those kinds of phones, but that phone I had was a Sony Ericsson. Yeah, 2011 was also the year I came out a little bit more. I went to the recreational place called Sågen in Klippan and met some friends there. Yeah, I also went to a music festival in Klippan, an annual of course, and I also went to a market in Klippan in that year. Alright, now I'm going to talk about what I did in 2012. That was the year I began at high school. Yeah, or in Swedish we call it gymnasieskola. Yeah, I still went at the special school in that time. Yeah, and some days after I left the elementary school, I was on a school camp. Yeah, and when I began at the high school, I went to a place outside of Skåne again for the first time in 4 years. I went to Bolmsö in Småland. Yeah, it was very beautiful there, with lakes and forests. Yeah, 2012 was also the year I sang at stage for the school. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2013 was. Yeah, I had some things to do in that year. I sang at the musical with my school. Yeah, we also went to a school camp on Bolmsö in Småland. Yeah, I was there twice in that year. That was also the year I went to Liseberg in Gothenburg, the amusement park. I had very fun there. That was also the year I got my first smartphone, an iPhone. And I also created my first Facebook account. I could be connected with some friends out there. Facebook was first social media account I created. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2014 was. Yeah, I also sang at a musical with my school that year. And in the summer I went to a camp in Åhus. I was there for 4 weeks. Yeah, it was a confirmation camp. I went to church, I was baptized, and I also went to Ivö. It's an island in the middle of a lake called Ivösjön. Yeah, it's located in Skåne, but is very close to Blekinge. The camp was one of my most amazing experiences before I turned 18. Yeah, the same year I turned 18. Yeah, when you're 18 you can decide over your life. Yeah, that was the year I became adult. Yeah, I also moved to my own apartment that year. Yeah, 2014 was also the year I went to Copenhagen in Denmark. Yeah, to another country. 2014 was also the year I got an Xbox 360. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2015 was. Yeah, the year for me became a little bit better than the last years I experienced. Yeah, that was the year I went to a football match for the first time in my life. Yeah, the match made me fascinated in football. Yeah, I saw Klippan play some matches that year. And it went very well. They went to Division 3 the year after. I will talk about my 2016 after I have talked about some more things that I did in 2015. Yeah, I created some more social medias that year. I created a YouTube channel, and now I have got a YouTube channel where I upload videos. I also created an Instagram account and a Twitter account, but it wasn't until 2017 I took it more seriously, uploading pictures almost every week or every day. Yeah, 2015 was also the year I went to Gotland, yeah, the biggest island of Sweden. Yeah, that was also the year I had to restart at high school. I went from the special school to a more normal school, but for students with some kind of diagnosis. Yeah, it was both good and bad that I went there. Yeah, and 2015 was also the year I got an Xbox One. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2016 was. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I have done a lot of things in that year. Yeah, that was the year I traveled almost around Sweden. Not the entire Sweden, but only the southern half. Yeah, I traveled around Skåne. I also traveled to Halland and Gothenburg. Yeah, I watched the matches between Klippan and the teams from those regions of Sweden, Halland and Gothenburg. Yeah, I also went to Liseberg after watching a football match. Yeah, it must have been Klippan versus Elfsborg, with a Swedish A with two dots above it. Elfsborg is another team, but they are playing in Allsvenskan, and they are not from Gothenburg. Yeah, 2016 was also the year I traveled to Stockholm. I traveled to Gotland too, and I traveled to Småland and Ädelfors near Vetlanda. Yeah, I also traveled to Västerås. I recorded in Västerås, and that was the first video I uploaded on this channel. Yeah, I took it more seriously. Yeah, and I learned some things at the school. Yeah, I went to a course which is called Aesthetics and Media. Yeah, I learned about how the camera worked, and I also learned to create some art on the computer on the Mac. Yeah, that was also the year I went to Milano in Klippan and sang karaoke. Yeah, the Milano pizzeria was in a TV series on the Swedish television. Yeah, that was also the year I turned 20. Yeah, I went to Systembolaget the day after. Yeah, it's a shop where you buy alcoholic drinks. Yeah, I went to Skåne with a summer ticket in 2016, or the summer court as it was called in 2016. Yeah, I traveled around Skåne with a summer card. Yeah, I went to some markets and festivals around Skåne. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2017 was. Yeah, that was the year I went to Mallorca in Spain. It was the best journey for me so far. It didn't look like Sweden. It was a little bit more special. The climate was a little bit more special. The environment, there were mountains on the island. Yeah, I had fun there on Mallorca. Yeah, that was also the year I recorded 2 movies. The first movie is available to see on Vimeo. The movie is called They Stole My Bike. And the other one was not available until 2018. Yeah, I traveled to Mallorca in June, and something more I did in June was that I went to Liseberg in Gothenburg. Yeah, I also went to a zipline court by Hallandsåsen. Yeah, I recorded the video. Yeah, I recorded when I rode with a zipline, but unfortunately I couldn't upload it on YouTube because some days after I rode with a zipline, my telephone died. The mobile phone I had in 2017 was a Huawei Honor. But after that I got a Samsung, but it also died. It only worked in 1 month for me. Then I got another one and it was also Samsung. Yeah, that was also the year I tried to be in the Swedish Idol, but I failed. Yeah, 2017 that was also the year I played for a football club and a floorball club for the first time. The HIF kick-off in Ängelholm. Yeah, I trained football during the summers and floorball during the winters and autumns. And I watched the first ice hockey match in that year live. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2018 was. Yeah, there were some good things and some bad things. I graduated in that year, but I still went to school after I graduated for another year. That was also the year I traveled to Blekinge for the first time. It's also located in southern Sweden, just like Skåne. Yeah, I also went to Gothenburg all by myself. 2018 was also the year I watched Melodifestivalen for the first time live. It was an amazing experience to watch it live. And some pretty bad thing happened to me in that year. I went to the mental asylum. I was there for 2 weeks. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2019 was. Yeah, that was the year that the most amazing thing happened for me in my life. I quit school and went to the job. I started to work at Brännaren. It's a daglig verksamhet, or in English I should say, a job for people with some kind of disorder or disability. Yeah, 2019 was also the year I traveled around western Sweden, Halland and Gothenburg, Bohuslän and Västergötland, and of course Dalsland and Åmål. I have shown you that I'm brave to travel all by myself and far away from Skåne. And 2019 was also the year I trained karate, but I quit in 2020. Alright, now I'm going to talk about how my 2020 was. Yeah, I was in time to do the best things before a worst case scenario happened. Yeah, in February I traveled to Stockholm, then I traveled to Finland by ship. I was on a cruise from Stockholm to Åland and Åbo, or in Finnish and English it's called Turku. I have also been to a camp near and in Ängelholm, parasport camp. I also watched Melodifestivalen live, and then the corona pandemic came. Yeah, and it has also lasted till the day I turned 25, and it will last after I turned 25. I don't know when this misery is over. I want this misery to be over. But anyway, now I'm going to talk about what I did in the summer of 2020, despite the pandemic. Yeah, I traveled around Skåne and also Blekinge and southern Sweden. Yeah, and I also was in 5 towns in Småland during the summer. Alright, and now I'm going to talk about 2021. Yeah, the year is soon over. The pandemic still lasted through 2021, but I did some things anyway. I started to bake and upload the pastries and breads on social media, Instagram and Twitter, but not on YouTube. Yeah, 2021 was also the year I traveled around Småland and especially the western parts of Småland. Växjö, Jönköping, Vetlanda, etc. Yeah, and just around a month before I turned 25, I started to work at a cafeteria in a school I went to before Tegelbruksskolan. I also started to work at ICA Nära, a grocery store in Klippan. There are several ICA grocery stores in Sweden. Yeah, and just some days before I turned 25, I traveled to Stockholm and Sundbyberg. Yeah, I was on a conference there. And of course I vlogged there too. Yeah, my friends, those were the things I had to tell you. Some things I did before I turned 25. Now I'm looking forward to do some more things, and yeah, and in 5 years I will talk about some things I did before I turned 30. But anyway, my friends, like, comment, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and please check out some other videos of this channel. Thanks for watching, I hope you friends enjoyed, and I will see you friends in the next video. Thumbs up!